Okay, let's start. So today I thought we could touch on the hack that works wonders but isn't healthy. And that hack is if you want to change how you feel, change what you think. And it works. It really does. If you change the way you think, you definitely are going to get to a point where the way you feel changes. What's troublesome about this is that it doesn't take into account why the feeling was there to begin with. Why was it available to begin with, and what it is that it had come, and how unhealthy it can become. There's a story that I've told here before about how I uh, I saw a picture of myself in about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I couldn't recognize myself. I couldn't recognize how I got there, how I chose the outfit I was wearing, how I just everything felt a little bit blurry. You know, like when someone had too much to drink the night before and they can't recall how they got home. They know how they got home, but it's just like it's so blurry, the whole thing. And that's what it felt like. And what's interesting about that time is how mentally well I was, how physically well I was, and how the situations around me were healthy as well, so to speak. And still, I was emotionally unwell. And this is something that I don't think it's touched on a lot on how it's possible to be mentally strong and mentally healthy and still be emotionally unwell. And the issue about that, or how that becomes unhealthy, is the fact that one can be fully a healthy human being and still not recognize themselves, or still not be who they authentically um, wish to be, or who they are truly. And that could be a problem. So let me just look at my notes for a second. Mm, Okay. So, one thing I wanted to touch on, the next point, is how emotions are usually not wrong. They're usually not uh, misleading. There is something, even if you feel at this point, you look around, there's nothing to be said about. Everything is going as it should, as well as it should, but there's a feeling of sadness. Usually, emotions aren't wrong about that. They are not wrong about the sadness that you're feeling. It could be the sadness that, as much as everything is going according to plan, as much as everything is going well, the what do you call it? the the wellness that you see isn't your kind of wellness, isn't aligned to who you truly are and what you truly desire. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that is the one thing that I try to remember, is the fact that when it comes to emotions, they aren't necessarily wrong. Even if we don't understand them at that time, we just need a little bit of time to get to know why is it coming like this. Even if, especially the one that we like to feel wrong about, is actually, we like to feel wrong about all of them. The one that we like to feel wrong about is anger. That, no, I overreacted. I didn't have to be like that. What could have been wrong is who you thought you were angry with. But definitely, there's something to be angry about. It might not be connected with this person, but there is. And we also feel like emotions are wrong. Maybe when it comes to joy, we feel like, oh my goodness, how could I be happy? Even if it doesn't consciously happen as I'm talking about it right now. But we feel like, oh my goodness, how can I be happy when there's so many wars where people suffering, I am suffering, this is still not fixed, that is still, and we block happiness when you're like, no, 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 not right now. I cannot take this at this moment. And then we block sadness when we feel like we have a lot to be grateful about. We have a lot of love around us, and we feel we are betraying those who are next to us because are we meaning they are not enough for us. Whereas, in actual fact, we are most likely to feel all the pain and all the sadness once we are in the space of safety, once we are in the space of full love, that's when we can start to feel a lot of sadness and all the other things. So this is the first thing that really helps is to remember that emotions are not wrong. So the first thing isn't to make an emotion wrong and be like, I need to change this. I cannot. It's wrong to feel sad right now. But to push it aside and be like, what I could be wrong about is why I'm sad. What I could be wrong about is why I'm angry. What I could be wrong about is why I'm happy. Because it could be just that you're happy because you're in your truth at that time, but the rest is correct. And to start seeing, and this is how I fixed the situation I spoke about earlier on this live, when I spoke about not recognizing myself on a picture, which is just such a painful feeling. I, 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 I don't know. It feels like you're watching your own funeral, your own death. So it was a painful feeling to see. So how I got from that place of being drunk all the time was recognizing that emotions are my friend and that emotions are a guide. There is information that is in our emotions that we cannot get anywhere else, we cannot Google, that our beautiful, beloved therapist, lover, family cannot be able to know that information. It is hidden in our emotions. It is there. That's where we can learn who we truly are, and what needs to be, what's next, what needs to be stopped, what needs to be continued. And those work as a guide. And I've heard a lot of time where people talk about, oh, we hear advice around following your intuition, following your gut, which is really tough if you've never done that. For someone that has never done that, intuition isn't even a word we use on a daily basis. So it's like, do I just follow a thought that comes into mind? But I really believe that there is it's so doable to follow the flow of our emotions, not to follow our emotions, but to follow the flow of our emotions, to understand what it is that they are trying to tell us. It is such a it is a wonderful way of knowing who we are authentically, not just knowing and following that. Let me see if I forgot something, because um let me see. Mm, mm. Yeah. And I want to touch on this, even though I've spoken about it as well, that we sometimes focus so much on mental wellness and physical wellness, which is so important to be emotionally well, that we forget that we also, and I think, in fact, most importantly than physical and mental wellness, that we have to be spiritually healthy, we have to be emotionally healthy, that we just focus on all the hacks that will make us productive, that will keep life moving, and then we forget about the most important thing, which is our emotional health, our that we could do better emotionally, that we just push on discipline. I need to do this. I need to become this person. And as we become more of the disciplined person, we move away from who we truly are. So that's really what I wanted this live to be about, to just bring light into knowing that hacks are wonderful, but hacks are supposed to be just for emergencies, and get it over and done with, and come back into really discovering what our emotions were trying to tell us. And that it's true that you can um, change how you feel by how you change how you think. But are you okay with changing who you are in the process and becoming someone you don't even recognize? And that's it for today. I hope this video made sense. It was, or as it usually helps if there's some people around and they're asking questions and I'm able to express myself better. So I'll stop right here. It's been wonderful. I hope to see you again next week as you're watching this recorded.